Hello everyone and welcome to the program Discourse here on Global Television. As we tend to tell you, here we bring you conversations that are there very close to the heart of the people, and we are going to be having that same kind of conversation today, which is around legislature and their role in promoting and bringing democracy to the people. It's no longer news that tension mounts in Abuja as hundreds of Nigerians took to the streets to protest what they describe as an unjustified delay by the National Assembly in passing the bill on electronic transmission of election results, a move protesters call a threat to transparency and credibility ahead of the future polls. Our correspondent was on the ground yesterday at the National Assembly where a lot of protesters gathered, and then we saw the former presidential candidate of the 2023 election, Peter Obi, who was on ground and also got reactions and also lent his voice to the current situation on ground. So currently, let's just have a quick look and a report of what transpired yesterday, and then we'll follow that through with what started today. Protesters drawn from civil society groups, youth organizations, and pro-democracy advocates converged on key routes leading to the National Assembly complex, chanting solidarity songs and carrying placards with interpretation such as "Our votes must count," "No more electoral delays," and "Pass the e-transmission bill now." They accused lawmakers of deliberately stalling the reform to protect vast political interests, warning that failure to act swiftly could undermine public trust in electoral processes. Addressing newsmen, Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 elections, Peter Obi, threw his weight behind the protesters, describing the delay as a setback to Nigeria's democratic growth and urging lawmakers to listen to the voice of the people.
On that election day, the result must be transmitted from the polling booth to the RF.
Protesters insist that electronic transmission of results remains critical to safeguard against vote manipulations, especially in remote and high-risk areas. Aisha Yusuf, a human rights activist and the executive director, Center for Transparency Advocacy, Faith Mwadashi, called on lawmakers to prioritize national interests over partisan consideration and immediately condone work on the bill.
They have the constitutional power and authority to indeed ensure that there's real-time electronic transmission of results. That is all Nigerians are asking for.
We are here to remind them that we have the vote, we have the ballot, and it is us that decides. People talk about the power of the gavel, but I tell you the power of the ballot is higher than the power of the gavel, because without the ballot there will be no gavel.
What we're just pulling out is that we want electronic transmission real time.
Civil society organizations also vow to sustain peaceful pressure, insisting that the protest marks the beginning of a broader civil engagement campaign until the National Assembly assures full legal backing for the electoral transmission of election results. Yes, that was from yesterday, where we saw protesters gathering at the gates of the National Assembly to give out their grievances based on the subject matter based around electronic transmission of the electoral processes, that's elections, from the polling units immediately, not transferring it to INEC. That's what we saw yesterday. The demands were started being made yesterday, and then today again we saw Peter, he calls himself Peter for Nigeria, also at the ground today, where he was still airing out his grievances and talking about the National Assembly and the Senate, so to come to the aid of Nigerians and pass the bill that Nigerians want, because they are vocal and saying that Nigerians' vote must count. But you should hear from Peter himself.
The National Assembly is reconvening emergency convention today, but you can see the mischief. The reason we are here is simple. The votes of the people must count. The Electoral Act should not support rigging and corruption in the electoral process, so that criminals do not rig themselves back into power. Unfortunately, we have an assembly that has become mischievous, an assembly that can change national anthem in one day. If Tinubu wants to borrow money, he can get it under 30 minutes. But somehow, electoral bill that should give power to the people to choose their leaders has taken almost 3 years. And do you know that the Senate that came back from holiday at the end of January they used backdoor to pass a fraudulent bill, and Akpabio put the Senate on recess to come back at the end of February. If not for this agitation, that they now did an emergency reconvention. So what we are saying here today is that the right thing must be done. Real-time mandatory electronic transmission of results must happen. Nigerians must have a means of holding their leaders accountable, because there's no country in the world where the votes of the people count and the leaders will act with this level of irresponsibility and impunity. It is because they know there is election to rig. We say enough. 2027, our votes must count. That is why we are still here.
Yes, it must count. Looking at this, how do you think this will impact the lives of Nigerians based on the fact that live transmitting of this result is going to help aid and combat corruption?
It will impact Nigerians the same way that failed governments, the same way that bad politicians have impacted their lives, the same way that more than 100 people were killed in Kwara, and instead of the president to clear his schedule and visit Kwara, he rather went for a wedding in Abuja. Do you know that in Nigeria today, bandits will send you a list? If kidnapper carry your people, part of their demand will include motorcycle tires. They will add provision. They will add cash. That is, bandits are in the bush collecting milk and meal of fuel. And then Nigeria does not have enough technology to do election. But somehow terrorists in the bush have technology to make calls. The impact that bad government have had on the lives of Nigerians, if they fix government, good governance will also have a positive impact on our lives. So this is a mandate that must happen. This is a sacrifice that everybody should make. What we are doing here is about our lives. As I'm talking to you, there are young people who have been detained in certain prisons, some for offenses they know nothing about. Meanwhile, known criminals, people who stole billions, are occupying government houses. The real Yahoo boys are inside this building. The real Yahoo boys in Nigeria are in government houses. Petty criminals in Nigeria, if you want to steal enough to be able to bribe EFCC, bribe judiciary. That is why somebody feels steal money as former governor, pay school fee for children up front, and still have the nerves to say, I'm still running for office. You know why? Because there is an INEC you will rig election for. That is what we are here to stop. We must fix this issue of election, because the confidence of every corrupt politician is in a rigged electoral process. We say enough. Tinubu has 31 governors standing on mandate. They don't pay all influencers. They have City Boy movement. Who is afraid of a free and fair election? Why is Tinubu afraid after carrying out all of these achievements he say he has achieved? It is Oriburuku. I don't know whether you know what is Oriburuku. Me, I don't want their Oriburuku to now affect my life so that my Ori no go buru. So we need to stop this their own Oriburuku now. Our vote must count already.
How long do you think you can stay?
When you are under oppression, how long do you fight for freedom? For as long as it takes. We will be here for as long as it takes. Very soon you should drop camera, wear t-shirt and come here. Because even press, you get the kind of thing you will broadcast, they will collect your license. NBC will come and gag you. Everybody is a victim. Today journalists have become brown envelope journalists. They cannot speak their mind because they know that the same party that they are standing on mandate, them too they do mandate for nights. Nigeria has become a criminal enterprise. This is what we call government in Nigeria is organized criminality. We cannot continue like that. Nigeria is in the hands of thieves and criminals. There is no country where criminals make your laws, criminals interpret your laws, and criminals execute your laws that will move forward. We must fix it. Let people of integrity and competence go and lead us. Enough. Our vote must count.
So let me add my voice. So you see Ababio, Godswill Ababio, the man who rigged him in as a citizen.
That's just what you saw it firsthand there from the situation on the ground, based on what Nigerians are calling for, just electronic transmission of the voters' result. But now you might be wondering, why is this happening in Nigeria? While we are having this conversation with people on scene, we did the research and we saw that some African countries are also transmitting their election results electronically. So let me bring you up to speed with that. In South Africa's statute is partially electronic transmission. It works, you may wonder how that works. Results are being captured electronically at voting stations and transmitted to a central system, but paper ballots remain primary evidence as well. Then the strengths are very robust and audit and verification process. Then if you move over to Namibia, full e-transmission, how it was, uses electronic voting machine with electronic result transmission. One of Africa's earliest adopters. That means in Namibia now, you can vote and automatically it goes into the system and then the counting begins. So there is no need for paperwork. In Namibia, they are still using the same as South Africa, which is partial e-transmission, which requires results being transmitted electronically from constituency centers to the national tally center. That's also then if you move move over to East Africa. We saw in Kenya that advanced e-transmission. How does that work? Still, electronic results are transmitted electronically from polling units using the KIMS system. That means it goes straight, and then looking at it from those angles, now result must still be backed by scanned result forms, which is also the same thing partially happening in Uganda. We saw the same also in Tanzania. Nothing like that is happening. They are still working manually, and then in Rwanda they are still using the same partial transmission. Also, if you come to West Africa, Ghana is very strong with partial transmission. If you don't know, the president of Ghana, John Mohammed, has recalled Nigerian envoy to Ghanaian envoy to Nigeria based on the fact that there are allegations of him being involved in electoral malpractices. So we'll still bring you up to speed with our report. And then talking about Nigeria now, Nigeria is using electronic means partially but expanding. How does it work? INEC's EV portal uploads polling unit results sheets electronically. The reality, the transmission exists, but legal, logistic, and network challenges affect consistency of this said way of transmitting results. But what Nigerians are calling for now is for the same thing, for a fully electronic system that would transmit the result direct from the polling unit. Like it goes direct to the server. There is no need, there won't be need for any form of paper and transfer. It should just be transmitted. That's what Nigerians are calling for. So help me unpack the challenges and look at other means, any challenges that might arise or that is hindering why this might not be possible. Joining me to have this conversation is David Itokpa. Did I get your name right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, David Itokpa, the Welfare Secretary of the of ADC. Thank you so much for joining us on Discourse today. So I saw you at the protest ground yesterday. You were there today. So walk us through how the process has been and what, with the turnouts that you're seeing and Nigerians, and most importantly, a whole lot of youths gathering at the National Assembly. Do you think this agitation is going to be, answered quickly?
Yeah, Samuel, thank you very much. A very wonderful afternoon to you. My name is David Itopa. I'm the Deputy National Welfare Secretary of the ADC. Yeah, like you rightfully said, I've been part of, in fact, as a matter of fact, we started our protestings on Friday. And then let me say, the people that joined yesterday are just, people who joined us in the protest. Some of us have actually taken to the streets since on Friday to say no to the non-passage of the bill, the electoral bill, which is meant to deepen our democracy and strengthen our resolve in our constitutional democracy. You see, the turnout, for me, I think the turnout is impressive, even though Nigerians can still do more. And I want to believe that on a daily basis, the momentum is building, because if we look at it, I think this is the right time for us to nip this problem of electoral malpractices in the board. Because if we do not do that, trust me, we are just, it's just going to be a charade. The elections are just going to be a charade. The National Assembly exists for the sole purpose of delivering good governance to Nigerians, whether you like it or not, because they are there to make laws that will better the lives of Nigerians. And if you make laws that better the lives of Nigerians in any which form, as far as I'm concerned, it is also, delivering what I term good governance or dividends of democracy to Nigerians at large. The so-called legislators were not there on their own accord. They have a mandate that they were freely given by their constituents, even though some got that mandate via rigging, and that is the reason why some of them don't want to strengthen our electoral laws that will allow for free and fair elections in our country. And so we Nigerians are saying that, look, the right thing must be done. We are tired of all the shenanigans. We are tired of, in fact, the last election that brought in the president, and probably maybe some of these lawmakers, for me, it was an embarrassment. It was a sham. It was a moment of sober reflection as a Nigerian that, look, if you look at some of those results, you could see how result sheets were mutilated, cancelled, as though it were a 2-year-old child learning how to write ABC, cancelling and all of that. We are in the 21st century, for God's sake. We are in the jet age, for God's sake. So for me, I think Nigerians are doing right. and will continue to do right by taking to the street to ensure that the right thing is done, and that this bill should be passed. So whatever their excuses are, I do not believe that the legislative arm of the government should make excuses for why they will not be able to make laws. You should make the law, and if there is a problem that arises, then the government should move in to fix that problem so that we can enjoy free and fair elections. The excuse that where Nigerians are not ready, some places do not have network, for me it is one of the most flimsiest excuses I've ever heard or I've ever heard as a Nigerian. For me, it is more like trying to hoodwink Nigerians. We all know what is happening in Nigeria, because it is laughable that almost on a daily basis on our social media platforms, even on national TVs, you get to see bandits, you get to see criminal elements in the bush making videos via TikTok and via other social media platforms, collecting money via electronic transfer and all of that. We see them every day. Nobody's making a business allegation here. Almost every Nigerian knows this because they come on social media platforms to display some of these things. So if criminal elements can hide in the bush and make use of all of this network, so why then can Nigeria government say that, look, it is not possible to transmit results in real time? It means we are just joking as a people. We are not ready for good governance. We are not. Okay, looking at it, and like you said, this is the 21st century. Why do you think electronic transmission has become a major concern to modern democracy? It's very simple, because with the introduction of technology, which includes real-time transmission of results, it at least gives us 80 to 90% transparency in terms of how votes are collated. And all of that. The procedures, the processes that involves, in transmission of results and then announcing the eventual winner. It gives the average Nigerian voter that's confidence that, look, I think we are beginning to get things right. And then the more reason why these legislators or the government will try to, ensure that these real-time results are not, it doesn't come to limelight. It is because when we involve technology in our voting processes, it would have curbed nearly 70, 75 to 80%, of rigging. And we know people who do not want to deliver good governance are scared of free and fair and transparent elections. And that is the reason why we as citizens of Nigeria, we are clamoring for the introduction of technology, which includes real-time transmission of results, so that at least if we are able to determine those who get into offices with the introduction of technology, if such person failed to deliver on the mandate we have freely given to that person, then it would have been very easy for us to remove that person from office. But the reason why they do not want the introduction of technology into our voting system is because they know that they can manipulate the system. Now, I am not saying that some of these technologies are not prone to compromise. But the chances are very slim. And then it's a continuous process that we keep working on the security of the platform, of the process. So for me, what was your reaction to when you heard after the 2023 election where the former INEC chairman said that they had some beavers failed and all? What was your reaction at the time? After the whole money that was invested, you just took the words out of my mouth. Because for me, I do not expect that after voting several billions of naira into such event, at the end of the day, you come out and say that, oh, there was a glitch, there was a malfunction. It clearly shows incompetence on the part of the INEC chairman and whoever is in charge of that process. Because you cannot tell me that several billions were voted into the IREF and all of that, and you are telling us that there's a network glitch. For God's sake, even private individuals these days using Starlink. And Starlink, as we know, can work from anywhere and work anywhere in the part of the world, even in the remote villages. Even in my own village, in Eka Ohizenyi of Kogi State, I am telling you that nearly every household there has POS. And what does it take? Internet. Which uses internet. I mean, that is the simplest form of electronic transmission. And that is almost the same technology to which this transmission of election results make use of. So what is the excuse? So for me, it was embarrassing for the INEC chairman during the 2023 election to say that, oh, they encountered some glitch, and so therefore they would not be relying on the results that was transmitted through the IRF. Because if you know the IRF, what the IRF does is just to take a snapshot of that result.
Yes.
But what we are asking for now is that as you are voting, at the point of voting, once you are casting your vote for candidate ABC, within a microsecond or 2 seconds, results should be uploaded on the screen for every Nigerian to see that, look, Mr. Benga has voted in so polling unit, and this is the vote that has counted on the screen, and everybody will be there. Nigerians will be out there, monitor and be seeing it in real time. So that's what we are saying. For me, I don't think we've asked for the head of Caesar to be asking for electronic transmission of results. So, as the Senate, headed by Akpabio, should come out clean. They should come out clean.
Yes, getting to the Senate now, we saw that some persons said, some Senate members, the one from Bayelsa were saying that they were not just informed they were there, and then a couple of House members stepped out before they could come back in, and then these results were passed. Do you think there's some how would I put this now, to be more diplomatic? What do you think was behind that move? Because clearly some members were saying they were not seated at the time. Do you think that this move now didn't go through? All the House members were not seated and they did not get to study the bill properly before it get passed? Or they didn't understand the context before what was passed was passed?
There is a common adage in many various Nigerian local parlance. That when a witch cry in the night, the child die in the morning. Who kills the child? The truth is that those who knew what their plans were, those who are under some sort of control, and that they did not want for e-transmission of results in real time to pass through, ensured. It was, for me, I think it was more like a calculated attempt that, look, those who would oppose this bill, once they are not seated, let us hurriedly pass it.
Yes.
So it's a very simple thing. I don't think we need any prophet to tell us what went on. It's because we have known this 10th Senate to be very, very cunning. There is nothing this 10th Senate has done that has been pro-people. It has always been an anti-people's bill, anti-people's law. Everything the 10th Assembly has done, nearly everything, were meant to stifle the life of ordinary Nigerians. So, but for me, I think Akpabio have failed roundly in every facet of legislative affairs.
From this angle now, looking at this administration, we've seen that loans have been passed in less than days and all.
In less than 30 minutes. Now, those were the laws. Those were the laws. If you look at, if you go to the back to the, if you go in depth to those laws were the laws that are meant to favor them.
Yes. Well, let's come back to INEC. Looking at it now, a huge budget has been given to INEC. Now we have a new INEC chairman. What do you think would happen, and what are you expecting from him? Because the INEC now have said that the Senate are the one delaying them, that they are ready to be able to carry out a form of election. And then we'll be seeing the first test for Professor Josh Amopitan by next week, where we'll be having the local government and councillorship elections here in Abuja. What are your expectations for this current INEC chairman and INEC at large?
I am going to be honest as an individual, because I know Professor Joash Amopitan from a distance. He has a very remarkable public career spanning from his days in the University of Jos.
Yes.
He's a professor of repute, professor of law of repute. So he is someone I want to believe will not allow himself to get into the muddy waters of the typical Nigerian politician, especially as seen in the APC. I want to believe that Professor Joash Amopitan, who I know has the fear of God, will do well to act within the scope of his powers as INEC chairman, which also makes that that commission, an independent body, to conduct free, fair, and credible Nigerians. I want to also believe that Professor Joash Amopitan will not allow himself, because if you studied, if you've taken a look at the man's life,
yes,
he's nearly unblemished.
Yes, nearly
unblemished in terms of his public and personal career.
Yeah. I was in just last year during the Noga Games, and a lot of people sang praises of him.
Yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. So I want to believe that at this stage, because our people will say that you do not learn to eat with your left hand at 40.
Yeah.
So I want to believe that it is not at this stage that Professor Joash Amopita will allow politicians to allow him to dance in the dirty waters where the pigs belong. I am believing that Professor Joash Amopita will do well to stand by the Nigerian people who are yearning for free and fair, credible election. I'd like to leave it at that.
Okay. Do you think, one more thing, do you think the INEC office now, the office of the chairman now, do you think it should be an appointment position or an elected position?
If you ask me for my honest opinion, I do not believe that it should be an appointed position. I believe that every Nigerian from every walk of life should have a stake, should have a say in who becomes the INEC chairman. Because it's only that way that we can ensure true independence. Because there's a saying, as we all know, he who play the pipe, he takes the tune. So if Nigerians, if the INEC chairmanship position is subjected to the position of election, where all Nigerians have a stake in who becomes the INEC chairman, I think we would have succeeded in erasing majority of the problems from that commission. That's my sincere take.
Okay. Well, we'll look at other angles to this conversation, but we'll be going on a quick break, and when we return back, Discuss continues. Yes, many thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining, this is Discuss, and we are looking at the role of legislature in providing Nigerians adequate democracy. Also, protest is ongoing here in Abuja, and protesters have threatened that this protest might escalate to other parts of the country if the National Assembly and the Senate don't come to a consensus to pass the bill on around electronic transmission of election result. That's real-time transmission. And again, we've heard certain rumors flying around that there's a chance that the 2027 election might be happening in 2026. I'm having this conversation with David here with me in the studio, who is the National Welfare Secretary of the ADC. David, have you heard that, and do you think there is a possibility for that to happen, the election of 2027 happening in 2026?
Oh, well, that is still a subject of debate within the National Assembly, as I am aware, that it is also, I think that clause is also part of a much broader electoral reform bill that they are trying to pass. But for me, I think what the Apabio Assembly, 10th Assembly would likely want to achieve with that is to ambush other political parties. Think especially the ADC, saying that okay, they just better the coalition and then catch the ADC off guard. But I tell you, all those things they're just wasting their time.
How focused do you think the ADC are?
Oh, the ADC is propelled by the support of the vast majority of Nigerians who are desperately yearning for good governance.
Do you think the ADC have been able to build a very strong opposition? You know, we've seen a couple of members coming out. We saw the former 2023 presidential candidate coming out yesterday. Today we saw Rotimi Amici on ground, and we also saw, you know, who obviously someone that is not from ADC. We saw Mulere Showere also on ground today. So looking at all of these people coming out, do you think it's giving Nigerians more assurance that okay, these leaders are actually stepping up to their role of, you know, joining Nigerians, standing with Nigerians in the time of need to be able to ask for something that is right. With all of this now, how do you think there's a turbulence in the opposition camp? With the fact that we're seeing, you know, strong opposition leaders coming out to protest alongside common Nigerian men and women.
Yeah, first of all, you must understand that there is no ceiling to the level of opposition a political party can attain. So it is a work in progress. So for me, I think we have done well. Can we do better? Yes, we can do more. I am glad that Nigerians have seen that the ADC as a political party is standing with Nigerians. The ADC is in solidarity with Nigerians over the yearnings for good governance. The ADC is in solidarity with the vast majority of Nigerians who want electoral reforms. And so for that reason, was why you saw our leader, one of our leaders, His Excellency Peter Obi, yesterday. He came out and he boldly said that he was in support, and then he aligned himself with the position of Nigerians, because for him, it is not about him, it is about Nigerians. I'm sure today you also saw His Excellency, the former Minister of Sports, Transportation, and former Governor of River State, His Excellency Barrister Rotimi Amechi, who also came out, who was on ground today with his son. I mean, it shows that our leaders are ready to stand with Nigerians to demand for good governance. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks, but this actions speak louder than voice.
With the modern trend we are seeing, do you think Nigeria is at the place now where she can handle electronic transmission of results?
If Nigerians have gotten to a near cashless society, so what is stopping us from, you know, handling e-transmission of results in real time? I mean, it's just plain to see.
Okay, let's look at other angle now. Credibility now is something very, very, you know, important now. But how does electronic transmission improve transparency and public trust in election? Do you think the passage of this is a step towards that direction?
You see, what we are saying, what majority of Nigerians are saying, which I am part of it, we are not saying that once the National Assembly passes the bill for direct transmission of results in real time is El Dorado. We are not saying that is going to ensure 100% credibility. So what we are saying is that passage alone is just the beginning of many steps to come. Right, to get our electoral, you know, processes transparent. Because if you pass this bill, which seeks to allow e-transmission in real terms, it would have at least given Nigerians between 70 to 80% assurance that these elections are credible. Because while I say the reason why I say this is just the first step in many to come is the fact that between the National Assembly and the Villa, where the president will finally assent to that bill, there are so many political bandits who are lying in waiting to possibly, you know, how will I put it now? Rewrite some of those bills. We saw it. It happened in the tax bill. We saw it.
Yes. I was actually even going to get to the tax bill.
So we saw it in the tax bill.
Yes.
So now, what we are saying is at least do this one first and allow Nigerians to also follow through that process between the National Assembly to where the president is going to assent it. Because these are political bandits in power. And they are very vicious. They will do everything to ensure that they subvert the will of Nigerians.
You mentioned the tax reform bill, and you know, which a lot of persons are now sitting at the edge of their seats, waiting to be sure of what exactly is happening with that bill, if it's on or if it's not on. What's your reaction to all of it? Do you think that this tax reform bill, as they said, is to make things easier for the common Nigerian, to make the rich pay more, and then the ones below poverty line pay little or nothing? Do you think that is what Nigerians are going to experience with this tax reform bill?
You see, like,
because we're hearing gazettes this, gazettes that.
like Eneke the bed in Chino Achebe's fall apart.
Yes.
Where the bird has learned to fly without perching. You see, we Nigerians, because politicians have also learned to shoot without missing. So we Nigerians must learn to ensure that we even hold them by their arms before they even shoot. Now, what am I saying? Let me break something down that I understand with the tax bill. That, it is aimed at the rich paying more so that the poor cannot, the poor will not pay nothing or less.
Less or nothing.
Now, let me do a simple arithmetic for you.
Yeah.
If you have an Okada man who goes to work with his bike from, say, morning till night, he earns about, say, 3,000, between 3,000 5,000 a day. You multiply that by 30 days, how much you have? And then they are saying that the threshold for that deduction is from 800,000. If you do this mathematics, you would have gotten more than 800,000 for that Okada man in a year.
In a year.
Does the Okada man fall between the range of those who are well-to-do in Nigerian economy as we speak, or below the poverty index as defined by IMF and World Bank? You see, Nigerian politicians, let me go back to the first addict that I made. Nigerian politicians have learned to bamboozle Nigerians with words so that they can choke them to submission. Do we want Nigerians to pay tax? Of course, there is no country in the world today, developed that don't pay tax.
True.
But now, here is the plot twist. Can you compare those countries with a good working tax system with what we currently have in Nigeria? The answer is no. Can you trust the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's APC government not to take your money from you without delivering good healthcare services? After all, was this not the same stories they gave to us in May 29th or whatever, when he suddenly came and abruptly removed the fuel subsidy? Now Nigerians are going to get better, transport system is going to do. Where are we today? Nigerians are further falling down below the poverty line as we speak. The data is everywhere. It's not something I'm not making baseless claims. This is everywhere to see. Okay, in Abuja today, look at the metro lines they built, or what do they call it? All the bus terminals they built. It has not been put to use till today. So what exactly are we saying? The tax law, as far as I'm concerned, it is just an avenue. It's like a conduit pipe. It's an avenue for the APC to continue to steal from the Nigerian masses. It is an avenue to continue to impoverish Nigerians, so that on the day of election, because that is what they care about. They don't care about Nigerians. They don't care about the good, the living standards of Nigerians. Go to the public school in Nigeria. It is almost completely a waste of time. Go to our public hospitals. We don't even have doctors. As I speak to you, there are some public hospitals where you go there, you will spend 2 weeks without seeing any doctor to attend to you.
Because of Japa syndrome.
Because of Japa syndrome. And then what is the cause of the Japa syndrome? Bad governance. So this whole thing is designed. Don't let them, don't however sweet those words are, don't let them bamboozle you with words. I keep telling Nigerians every day. Those things are designed. They were designed to ensure that they choke Nigerians, so that when it is time for election, they can just throw peanuts to you. I mean, this is Stalinism school of thought. We know all these things, but I'm telling you that the Nigerian people that I know have gotten to their elastic limit, and they will resist them within the ambit of the law.
We saw people calling for, a reform and change around the security framework of Nigeria, and then it has been argued that over, since the insecurity issue started in Nigeria, that this administration has been the one with the highest number of insecurity and deaths that has been recorded so far. What do you think can be done separately now? What do you think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should do now in terms of tackling the insecurity challenges we're having in Nigeria? We saw what happened in Jos last year. We saw the same in Yelwata. The list keeps going on. And the most recent 100, we saw the Vice President going to visit in Kwara, and then the trajectory of this heartening situation continues to grow larger and larger. How can this be addressed? What is the what's the ultimate way to sort out this problem?
You see, I am not a security expert, so I want to believe that security issues should be left for those who are experts in that industry. But then I will say one thing. I will say one thing quickly, which is about the welfare of Nigerians. Let me tell you, if things are working properly, I barely see how anybody would think of descending into criminality if things are working, the way they should be. If Nigerians, if politicians have not mastered the act of looting public funds, which is meant to create an enabling environment for Nigerians to grow economically, I see no reason why people will take the street to criminalities. So for me, I think the president should come down from his high horses and seek help from those who can help him. Instead of making watery statements every now and then without practical solutions. No, we are not going to, Nigerians are not going to get saved or get secured by all those watery statements. He must be seen to be proactive enough to engage this criminal element head on. He must come down from his high horses and seek help.
Seeking help is actually very key. We have seen the U.S. government promising to help, and we've had reports that a couple of them are on ground already, and we're just hoping to see that it's going to turn out to, having lesser insecurity concerns in the country. But with that being said, there are lots still going on, and looking at this current situation on ground of this electronic transmission of results. If this doesn't happen, if this doesn't get passed now, what do you think the future holds for the election year that is upon us?
You see, the truth is that I want to believe that the Akpabio-led 10 Senates must listen to the voice of reasoning and allow for this passage of this bill so that it can strengthen our electoral processes. Nigerians are not going to back down anytime soon, because he who is on the floor, he who is on the ground fears no fall. Nigerians are already on the ground as a result of bad governance. So we'll continue to demand and agitate for the right thing to be done. I can assure you that. Nigerians are not backing down. We must continue to demand for accountability and demand for our rights.
What are the processes now, do you think, that can lead to this happening faster, and what would happen? Because I know there are other processes. It needs to get to the desk of the president to even sign it. So with this delay now that that we are seeing from the National Assembly and the Senate, do you think it's time for the president to step up and say something? Okay, just pass this bill. Don't you think it's time? Or you think
if the president ever has any good intention towards Nigerians, if he ever had any good intentions, and he ever want to leave a good legacy for tomorrow, I think it is the right time the president begin to do the right thing. I think it is the right time he calls Senator Akpabio to do the right thing, so that it will be, when his stories will be told in the nearest future, people who lived in his time will say he was the one that actually ensured that there were true transparent elections, just like President Goodluck Jonathan, just like Yaradua.
People still sing their
praises. So if the president still has any form of goodwill left, I think he should rewrite the course of history.
Looking at this now, in line with this passage of this bill, the House looks divided. Some are for and some are against it. Where does this keep now the House? And though we live in a democratic system where those with the highest vote takes it, so with all of this plans and procedures on ground with different political actors, some for and some for against, does this leave Nigerians with the fact that the House, talking about oppositions now, that the House is currently overpopulated with opposition leaders? The Senate is being led by a whole lot of APC, All Progressive Congress people, and the president is still an All Progressive Congress member. We have lesser numbers of opposition in the House. How do you think this will impact the passage and the reading again of these results, even if the entire opposition members in the House are for, and then those with higher numbers are against? What does this leave the fate of Nigerians?
You see, for this kind of scenarios is the reason why the APC tried to
create a one-party system. Muscle
the opposition to join them, so that even when they are doing the wrong thing, for party supremacy's sake, they will not be able to speak out. But let me quickly remind Nigerians of something, that the entirety of the National Assembly, 360 House of Rep members, even though the House of Rep members have actually done the needful. I think they have, to an extent, they have been on the side of Nigerians, because I understand that they passed that bill.
Yeah.
The Senate arm of the National Assembly are how many again? 91.
91.
So the entirety of the whole National Assembly are not even up to 0.01% of Nigerians. So they should therefore understand that they are not there for themselves or their party. That they are there for the over 250 million Nigerians who gave them their mandates, even though some were stolen. But at least you should understand that you represent a constituency, a federal constituency, and that is, upon that reason, is the reason why you are even called a legislator in the first place. So if your people are yearning for the passage of the electoral bill, which seeks to allow for e-transmission of results, I see no reason why anybody should be playing party bandwagon and say, no, I'm loyal to my party. There are no people, there will be no party without Nigerians. Nigerians make up the party. So this is the angle we should be looking at.
Let's look at this final angle which we're getting set to wrap up. Looking at this angle of sanitization within the INEC system itself. Now, it goes beyond passing or uploading these results. Now, let's talk about individuals. What sanitization scheme do you think the INEC needs to have before this coming general election to have specific people, not when it's a couple of weeks or months to the election, then INEC start recruiting more people that would go to different polling units? How is it going to be how integral is it for INEC to start up, sanitization process for its members that would be going to several polling units and that would be in charge of all of these machines, and we wouldn't hear stories on election days and after election?
But for me, I think that the sensitization is very much needed, and it will also come very, very handy if and when the bill is passed. Because for now, whatever sensitization they want to do, for me, I think is just a mere academic exercise. If we are still not going to be able to improve on our electoral laws, it's just a mere academic exercise. But I want to believe that at the end of the day, the Nigerian Senate will do the needful. So the sensitization of individuals within the INEC, the ranks of INEC, and also the ad hoc staffs and all of that, I think is very, very, it's also an integral part to, having credible elections, which further deepens our democracy in Nigeria. Because, like they say, the process of learning, unlearning, and relearning can never be overemphasized. So I think it's a very good thing, and I think it's much needed. But again, I must say that if this bill is not passed, because there's no amount of sensitization that you want to do to INEC staff or the ad hoc staff that will stop politicians
from being politicians. All right. What's your final call now? Do you have for the National Assembly and the Senate to listen to Nigeria? Like you mentioned earlier, we've seen that the National Assembly somehow tilting towards where Nigerians are, supporting them and passing the bill. What do you think now? The elephant in the room is the Senate, and the biggest elephant in the room is Senator Godswill Akpabio. So, looking at it from those angles, what advice do you have for the Senate and Senator Godswill Akpabio in line with the current happenings in Nigeria now?
Yeah, for me, you can find redemption anywhere. These are going to be my party notes anyway. You can find redemptions anywhere. And I think it is not too late for Akpabio and the 10th Senate to find redemption by passing that bill. I think everybody in that assembly should answer to their father's name. So that tomorrow we'll be able to look at you in the eyes when we see you in the streets, in the mall, in the filling station, and say, you were responsible for killing electoral reforms in Nigeria. So that tomorrow we'll be able to look at Senator ABC and say, no. You were responsible for allowing for the transformation of or strengthening our electoral laws in Nigeria, so that posterity will either be kind to you or posterity will be unfair to you. Remember, you have children, Senator Akpabio, you have children, all the senators have children, have family members. Do not bring shame upon these people by yourself, with your selfishness. Nigerians are counting on you. Nigerians are looking up to you to ensure that you will do the right thing, so we can have credible elections in Nigeria. After all, if President Jonathan hadn't bequeathed onto the Nigerians a credible election, there is no way the APC would have benefited from this. It is all about Nigerians, their wishes to have credible elections, to be able to vote for people who they believe will be able to deliver good governance. And if they don't deliver good governance, they should also have the power to remove such people and replace them. It's my parting words.
Okay. Are you headed back to the protest ground, or
oh yes, I'm headed back to you. I've been on the protest ground since Friday, yes. And that is why I'm dressed like this, so that we can show Nigerians that we are ready to push and agitate for the right things to be done.
How have the police and the civil defense been reacting towards the protesters since yesterday?
I must commend the Nigerian police. In fact, I must commend the Nigerian police. They have been very civil in the way they handle the protests. They have been very calm relatively. But then on the other hand, I do not see the need why Nigerian police will mobilize nearly 10,000 men for a peaceful protest when we have people in the bush who need this show of force. But quite frankly, I think I want to give them a pass mark so far. They've been very civil and very calm in the way they've been able to monitor and protect the protests so far.
Okay. All right. At least that's on the lighter note, and that's more relaxing to see that the Nigerian police are there to protect those protesters as they call for a change in the electoral reform bill. So it's great to see that both the protesters and the security operatives are on the same page. Meaning no form of violence is happening. I want to say a very big thank you to David for taking our time to join us on Discourse. I had to drag him out of the protest ground. All right.
Thank you, Samuel. It was my pleasure being here.
Yes. All right. We'll see more of you, David, and this is how much time will permit us to take on today's edition of Discourse. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Senator Godswill Akpabio, legislatures, lawmakers, hear the cry of your citizens and grant them their wish. My name is Samuel Odi. I'll see you again as we discuss further. Bye for now.